Okay, so if you're watching this, you probably have a couple of questions. One, why is this nerd talking about philosophy while playing Minecraft? And the answer to that is, why is it so I'm gonna change that. And the answer to that is, I'm a nerd. I like to play games while I explain nerdy concepts. Secondly, they updated the cave noises. That's not as scary. Okay, sorry, I have not played the new versions of Minecraft in a while, in a hot second. So you're gonna be hearing lots of me going, "What? That's new!" Like, of course it's new. You haven't played Minecraft actively in like 3 years. Anyways, I'm not a philosophy major. I am a fucking computer science major and media studies major. Neither of those are very, related to philosophy, and yet there's many philosophy courses about computers. So I'm like, I'll take a couple of those for my degree, get a couple of nice computer science credits out of it, but I'm trying to realize just how scary philosophy is, so let's talk about it. Secondly, you're probably asking, why on earth is this bitch playing on peaceful? The answer to that is, I'm a weenie. I like playing on peaceful. Similarly, if you're gonna ask why you play with cheats on, it's because I'm a real casual gamer who likes to play with because I'm a little weak. So there's the answer to those two questions that you have. Then your third question is probably why you clicked on this video for either Minecraft content or philosophy content, and so this is probably the question you're asking. What the hell is deontology and consequentialism, and why am I talking about it? So, deontology and consequentialism are one of the main ethical frameworks. Both three being virtue ethics, but we're not talking about virtue ethics because virtue ethics is literally just so lame. It's just like be a good person, that's it. Deontology is there are strict moral rules and laws that you have to follow, or just strict rules and laws that you have to follow to fall into the moral category. And then consequentialism is how positive of an impact a person's actions has on another person, society, the world as a whole. Therefore, is the result of your actions positive or negative? And that determines morality. And let's go. So, and then here comes the argument. In my class, we had to discuss which of the three main ethical frameworks that we agree with. Naturally, I go with number 3, consequentialism. If you shouldn't be punished or penalized for doing something right, despite it not really fitting in with the rules, but overall it was what was best for the people in that situation, for society, or had a very positive impact on the world around you. And so that just makes the most sense to me, because I'm like, hee, justice. People shouldn't be penalized for making decisions based on what they think is right. Especially if it actually helps in the end. But then there's people who are like deontology, following a set of strict rules. Okay, who is making the rules is my question. Like, following a strict set of rules and laws will keep people from acting out and breaking those rules and laws, therefore keeping everybody safe. Which it sounds great on paper, but if you look at it more closely, it does seem like a very take away your rights kind of look at things. It's like you have to do this, or you will be viewed as immoral, and you will be kind of alienated from society if you don't follow these rules or frameworks, which could be very problematic if you look at it in many different directions. An example that I used in our discussion was the fact that being on the autism spectrum, I naturally see the world around me different and interact with the world differently compared to neurotypical people or allistic people. And if there were moral rules against acting out in public, and my meltdowns being seen as a public disturbance, wouldn't that would classify? Whoop! There goes my mouse again. That would classify me as immoral because of something that I genuinely can't control. Therefore, alienating me for a very uncontrollable reason. That's the best way I can phrase it. And I was talking to a significant other about this because they have taken philosophy courses. This is the first philosophy course I've ever taken, so I'm like, oh my god, this is also new to me. I don't know what to do. And they were thinking about it through a more economic perspective. Like, for example, you know, paying taxes and fines and stuff like that, where, you know, you have to, like, to be moral, you have to pay taxes, but then comes the question of, can you afford to? Because there's, the way capitalism is set up, it's like there is a very big, like, discrepancy in as to where people fall and what they can afford and all of that stuff. And it's like they're immoral because they can't pay because of the government framework, and it's like the government would be, or whoever's making these rules would be segregating certain groups of people because of things out of their control. So that brings into the question, would a deontological society be more like a dictatorship rather than democracy or socialist countries or communism? Because you have to follow this strict set of rules to be viewed as a moral person, or to be viewed that you're doing the right thing. Which, if we bring it to the conversation about laws, and it becomes like a law, and you get punished for not following a law, wouldn't that be penalizing people without purpose? Like, especially if it's a small law, like, especially like with my example of, you know, public disturbances and autism meltdowns. If I have a meltdown in public, would that not mean that I get fined or imprisoned for it, even though it's out of my control? Naturally, people would be like, well, that's why they make exceptions for that. And then, wouldn't that be self-refuting? Because the only truth in deontology is that you follow the strict rules and laws no matter what. There would be no exceptions to that rule. And so, and that's what I'm seeing in discussions. It's like, there could be exceptions. No, there couldn't be, or else it becomes self-refuting, like relativism. It's like, there are no strict moral rules, but in saying that, you're creating a strict moral rule, that being there are no moral rules. And so it's as simple as it goes in this loop of, can there really be only a strict set of moral rules without infringing on the autonomy of the public or people's expression of self? Because depending on who writes these rules, because there's like, with the theory of deontology, it's like nobody says who's writing these rules, because everybody thinks morality is different. So there's like no specific like what's right, what's wrong, kind of like relativism, except it's not. There is no moral rules. Everybody has their own definition of their own moral rules, which they follow. Which is why deontology infringes on self-expression and autonomy. Because if it were the government what's moral, then it would be completely biased towards multiple groups of people, which would lead to human ethics issues and violations, segregation, etc., etc. So many problems. So it's like people can look at deontology and go, that sounds nice. I would like that. Everybody following the same set of rules. But if you look at it from a wider scope, it becomes an issue of indoctrination, of like trying to force the population to become the same. Because if we all think the same, then we're all the same. However, us as human beings, like as living, breathing organisms, we are all like that's not how that works. Everybody is different. We all have different brains. We all see the world differently. We process things differently, and therefore we are going to see the world through different lenses. I feel like I might be starting to repeat myself now. But I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions, because after all, this is like a philosophical question, not like a real issue, but when we talk about capitalism. Would love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments. What's your stance on this? Where do you fall when talking about the three ethical frameworks? Where do you fall on that? And apologies to any actual philosophers in the comments who may be watching this and being like, oh my god, this guy's so stupid, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm not a philosopher. I'm not a philosophy student. I just have to take some philosophy courses and I want to talk about it with people. So, thank you for listening to me rambling while I play some Minecraft. This has been fun. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys when I feel the need to ramble some more. Thank you very much.